Welcome, fifth graders, to lesson 3-7. And today what we're going to talk about and what we're going to be working with is we're going to be working with whole numbers and decimals again. But our question is, what are the different ways to add whole numbers and decimals? Now we're going to look at several different ways of adding whole numbers and decimals as we go through today's lesson. And actually that'll probably start in video 2. But in video 1, what I want to do, being, as we go through this and what I'm seeing, is let's look at examples and let's make sure we are able to identify different parts of numbers. So if I give you this number 923, 405, 172, and if I underline this part of the number, what part is that? Okay, and then if I underline a number in blue, what part of the number is blue? And then what would we call this section in black? Okay, so why don't you pause, think about that, and then write down what you think in your notes what the answer might be. So pause the video and then write down what you think. So ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you took some time to write things down. And we're going to address the first part, the 923. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is the millions part. Okay? When we talk about the 405, that falls under the thousands. And when we talk about the 172, technically that really doesn't have a name. That's nameless because no name. But we could, if we wanted to, we could say that falls into the ones. If we look at kind of how we go. So we've got our ones here, thousands is in the middle, and millions are the third level. All right, so we have this, and this is something that's very important that we understand. And we need to make sure that we understand our place values. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, 100 million, and then hopefully you remember the next category is billion. The next section that we're going to review is just because I want to make sure that we understand the metric system. So I'm going to put a 1 right in the middle, and then to the right we're going to put 0.1, 0.01, and then 0.001. And then on the other side we're going to put a 10, we're going to put 100, and then we're going to put 1,000. Now, if I were to label this middle part, meter, I'd like you to do your best to try and fill in what the rest of these are going to be. Now, I'm also going to put the abbreviation for meter, which is M. Now, if you can't remember what they are, do your best. Okay. Pause the video and check and see how you did. And then when you think you've got everything, get going. Restart the video and see how you did. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you've taken your time and you've tried to do your best to figure out what each one of these categories is. Now I'm going to type them just because it's a little bit easier to type them and read my writing. So we're going to start here, and on the end we have millimeter, and that is abbreviated MM. Next to millimeter we have centimeter, and that one is abbreviated CM. Now this one here, ladies and gentlemen, millimeter, centimeter, meter, and the one I'm going to talk about over here, which is kilometer, or km, these ones are the most common, the ones that you're going to see the most, which means these are the most important ones to you. Okay, these other three, here, here, and here, are important, but they're not the ones we normally see. We measure in millimeters, we measure in centimeters, we measure in meters, we measure in kilometers. If we wanted to call these grams, okay, we measure more frequently in milligrams, centigrams, grams, and kilograms. But we do need to know and recognize what these are. This one right here, and I'm going to put these on top just because of spacing issues. Oops, I need to get my... That is called the decimeter. That is called a decimeter, and that is abbreviated DM. Now, the decimeter should not be confused with decameter. And decameter is abbreviated DAM. And our final one when we explore the metric system is hectometer. And hectometer, I'm going to have to move this over here a little bit, is abbreviated HM. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see these regularly as we go through, so we're going to be reviewing them regularly. Millimeter, centimeter, decimeter, meter, decameter, hectometer, kilometer. All right, so that's the beginning of lesson 3.7, video 1. Stay tuned as we're going to talk about adding and how we can add in different ways.